What's going on, everybody? Toogie here, back again with my first NHL 23 franchise mode video of the new year. It's finally here, NHL 23. You can get it today. This is being uploaded on October 10th, 2022. The 10-hour EA Play trial is out. Of course, if you pre-ordered the game, then tomorrow you will have that early bit of access. For everyone else, of course, it'll be out on Friday. I need to mention a couple of things as to what this video is going to be before we really kind of get into it. I mentioned it is my first video of this new game. I am uploading this at 7 a.m. again on Monday, October 10th. A little bit later on today, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to upload part 2 of this, so make sure to come back later. And of course, I'll be live streaming over on twitch.tv/Tookie24 as I do every single night. Not just, of course, with NHL, but so many other different games that we play. For those of you that are able to tune in, it's a bit later in the day, of course, but for those of you that have been able to tune in for years and years and years now, I thank you for that. And if you somehow didn't know that I stream on Twitch every night, where you been? Where you been this whole time? But we'll be playing some franchise mode over there as well. This video is going to serve as an episode 0 for franchise mode for me to kick off this year. We are, as you've been able to tell by the title, going to be doing a 48-team custom league. And of course, a lot of people are asking me, like, hey, tutorial for how to do this. So this is it. This is your tutorial for custom league, as well as me setting up my own franchise here so that you guys can, kind of kill two birds with one stone here with the purpose of this video. So again, a reminder, check back later today for part 2, where we'll really start to kind of get into what this mode is going to be. And as well, we'll be live on Twitch a little bit later on. Also wanted to mention, I know for those of you here in the States, especially, hey, if you're younger, still in school or whatever, you don't have to go to school today because it's Indigenous Peoples Day here in the States. I know for my Canadian viewers that typically happens on June 21st. Of course, already happened this year. But hey, while this is a hockey channel and we have fun, I'm gonna pass on some wisdom as a now 28-year-old in terms of pay attention to holidays like this. Think about why you have the day off. Don't just view it as a day off. Do a little bit of research. 5-10 minutes of your time. Read up as to why today is the day that it's been named. Do just a little bit of research. You will thank yourself later on down the road instead of just being like, oh, it was a day off from school. That's my request to you. With that, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. It is Custom League, the big new addition for franchise mode this year. Now, when this was announced through my game modes trailer breakdown, I kind of said, I think this is a great addition, but it's not the right addition for the time. That said, what was that first part? It's a great addition to the game. You get control over basically everything that you could possibly want, NHL and AHL related. And like I mentioned, what we're going to be doing here is a 48-team version of the NHL. We are going to be running 2 conferences with 6 divisions. You can have a maximum of 8, and I believe as low as, I think it's just 2, or 0 outright. You could just have 48 teams in the league, no conferences, no divisions, if you want to. But we will be running a 2-6 formation here. Of course, salary cap inflation's pretty straightforward. The cap goes up throughout the years. What we are going to be doing, and this might be a hint that some of you kind of pick up on, to start things off, we're going to be dropping the minimum salary. Why would I be doing that? We're going to drop that all the way down to about $20 million. And of course, over the years, it will be going up. Basically, that means, though, you don't need to have cap whales, at least for the foreseeable future. In terms of the schedule, you can set whatever you want. In terms of the amount of games, you can run 84, you can run as low as 20. We'll still be running the full 82. But what I want to do differently, no interconference games. So East versus West will not happen in this franchise mode until the Stanley Cup final. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, I am a big fan of interleague baseball, but at the same time, there's something kind of magical to those 2 teams, not meeting at all. So those Western teams, those Eastern teams, regardless of what side we play on, they're going to be a little bit mysterious by the time, hopefully, we make a Stanley Cup Finals run in this setup. But again, multiple different things that you can do here. In terms of the standings, this is the big one for me. In this franchise mode, you will not be awarded a single point for a loss. When you edit these, make sure to start at the very bottom and go up. For example, I cannot currently drop this one down, but I can drop this one down. It's the same thing over here. It's because of the point equalization, essentially. So make sure you start from the bottom. But in this franchise mode, you lose, no points. You win in a shootout, 1 point, overtime win 2 points, and a win is 3 points. All the emphasis on winning in regulation in the regular season. We will have the 5 minutes of 3-on-3 and then a shootout, though, in the regular season. So personally, I would love the NHL to actually adapt this format. I don't like the pity point. I don't like the Bettman point at all for, oh, you lost, but you lost later. No, you lost the game. You shouldn't get anything. In terms of playoff qualification, we are going to go by conference, meaning that, of course, 8 teams per conference end up making it. There will be no wild card round or anything like that, but I am going to set playoff reseeding to be a thing. So that means if both 1 and 7 advance, well, 1 will play 7. It won't be like, oh, yeah, here's the 3 seed taking on number 7 or anything like that. Again, multiple different options that you have. We'll keep the tiebreakers as the same thing, of course, as they are. So despite the fact that we have 48 teams in this league, still only 16 will be making the playoffs, 8 per conference. The playoffs themselves, let's be honest, it's pretty much perfect. From a modern day NHL standpoint, it's perfect. This will come in handy, obviously, when you see someone like Snipe and Score Productions. Check him out on YouTube, of course. His custom rosters, that will be out on Xbox Series S and X, of course. I believe he's doing 1979, 1980, so you'll be able to have the league structure be perfectly set up to replicate that. Again, I don't believe it's in the plans, and it certainly isn't in at launch, the idea of roster sharing being cross-platform or cross-gen. So, you know, much like this year, I'll have my custom rosters out, but it'll only be for the Xbox Series. Same with Snipe and Score there, I believe. Unless I end up with a PS5, and then I know people are going to beg me to put out a roster on that side of things too. And, well, we'll see. Maybe that's what we start the Patreon up for again. Jesus. The AHL League setup will be, of course, very similar. We're going to have six different divisions there as well. The AHL is a little bit funky for this. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The schedule, honestly, let's do the same thing. Let's cut down on traffic. We're not Taylor Swift. We're not taking jets everywhere every day. We don't need to be doing anything too crazy. And we'll have the same point structure in the AHL and the same dealio here when it comes to the playoffs. Perfect. So that is step 1 done. It looks like a lot. It's really not that bad kind of once you get into it. So obviously the naming is the same. Now, in terms of teams, here is where the custom team factor really kicks in. You'll see under Boston Bruins, X, the substitute team, is still there. By default with Custom League, it will put in the SHL teams and Liga teams to fill this out. Unfortunately, at least from this menu, you basically have no great way to edit the AHL. It just is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm kind of frustrated by it, but what will happen here, as we'll take one little step back, is when we sub out Oskarshamn for one of our custom teams, that particular club as their AHL club will still be their AHL club. So there is a bit of wonkiness to this, at least from what I've seen so far. There's no great way to edit that. And to avoid spoilers for the moment, let's go ahead and skip ahead to where everybody is edited through, and we'll go on to division realignment. Now, a little bit later on, if you guys want, I can show you the jerseys for the 16 custom teams that I have created, but allow me to introduce you to the NHL's newest expansion franchises. First and foremost, the Albuquerque Railers are now a thing. For every team, I tried to use the new logos that are in the game through the Create a Team feature to make use of those, since again, they're new. We haven't seen them before. I also based a lot of this off of, city size, population, stuff like that. And of course, if I could match up the logo and everything, have it relate to the city somehow, some way, shape, or form. But the Albuquerque Railers are in the game with these custom rosters. By the way, they are filled out by ECHL teams, so this should be fun. But the Albuquerque Railers are in, of course, the Anaheim Ducks, the Arizona Coyotes, and then the Atlanta Tuskers, because there's an elephant logo, and why not? I mean, just to ruffle some feathers between the Georgia Bulldogs and Alabama football, of course. Now, the thing you might notice about the logos, I had to base the colors off of something, and it is based off of the flag colors of each city. So Albuquerque, pretty straightforward with the red and green. Atlanta has a very blue and yellow flag. We also have the addition of the Baltimore Spiders, which, good luck recreating that flag as a logo. What do spiders have to do with Baltimore? Absolutely nothing. But hey, it's the name the Cleveland Guardians could have taken, and they have a black and yellow color scheme for the Steelers. I don't know, man. But the Baltimore Spiders are in. Baltimore now has a hockey team. The Boston Bruins, of course, the Buffalo Sabres, Calgary. Of course, the Calgary Wranglers are in the game. I don't believe, of course, their jerseys are in yet. You got to give them a little bit of time for that one. As we continue to march on, getting to the new custom teams. We have the Halifax Beacons, because it's a lighthouse and it's Halifax. And conspicuously, that logo very similar to the Golden State Warriors. Can't help but see it. There's a lot of blue and yellow logos, by the way. We have a yellow and blue logo with the Houston Bulls. So Houston finally gets their expansion franchise. We have the Indianapolis Racers, because the Indianapolis 500. What else would it possibly be for, right? Yeah, what else would it possibly be for? But the Indianapolis Racers, and of course they were a hockey team. Some of you might recall they were the first to employ some scrubs named Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier back in the mid-'70s. But the Indianapolis Racers have returned. Of course, you got the LA Kings, and we go to Louisville with the Louisville Lions at the KFC Yum Center. The alliteration's great. Louisville Lions. There you go. This one, what was I going to do for Memphis? I have no goddamn idea. But of course, they have the gigantic pyramid that was an arena and then a Bass Pro Shop, and I think it's still a Bass Pro Shop. But the Memphis Sphinx are now in the league, as are the Milwaukee Guardians. And do yourselves a favor, if graphic design is your passion, look at the flag for the city of Milwaukee. It is the biggest abomination Microsoft Paint creation I have ever seen in my life. Good Lord. I had the fiance go ahead and contact one of her best friends who's a graphic designer, and she nearly threw up in her mouth. This is the Minnesota Wild, Montreal, of course, all the real teams. They're the boring real teams. We have the Oklahoma City Owls, because alliteration. I mean, the OKC Owls. Hoot hoot. You have the Omaha Warhogs, because it's a warthog, but, warhogs. Omaha. People in Omaha like military shit, don't they? I don't know. It's a badass logo, though. Very St. Louis Blues colors based off of that flag, but the Omaha Warhogs. The Ottawa Senators, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. I was going to go with the Portland Timbers. This is me and the fiance trying to figure out, okay, what is it going to be? The Portland Tree Choppers in Portland, Oregon. Original, I know. Speaking of original, the Quebec City Don de Dieu, which I discovered their, city flag has a ship on it called the Don de Dieu, which is the gift of God, and the Quebec City gift of God. I can't give you a more flattering team name than that. We have the San Antonio Suns, because I find it funny. Phoenix Suns, now the San Antonio Suns. Except the sun is red and blue and white, because San Antonio's flag is red, blue, and white. San Antonio's in the league. We also have the San Diego Surf, who, yes, have an AHL team with the Ducks, but the San Diego Surf ride the wave, baby. You also have the best new logo in the game. with the San Francisco Huskies. Look at how cool that damn dog is. That's going to be my eShow logo for sure for all of 2 weeks that I actually play it. Of course, San Jose, the Seattle Kraken with the Coachella Valley Firebirds. St. Louis, Tampa, Toronto, Vancouver, Vegas, Washington, and Winnipeg. So those are the new additions. That said, what team are you going to use? You have 48 to pick from, don't you know? Well, I was considering teams that I haven't been before, and if there was ever going to be a time to be this particular team, now would be the time to be them. We're going to control the Toronto Maple Leafs, because why not? Which brings us to the biggest pain in the ass about all of this, the conference realignment. It is pretty straightforward. I have tried to match these up geographically, and I won't be doing all of this right here, right now. But of course, you are allowed to hit left bumper to rename the conference. Pretty straightforward. This will be the Western Conference. Fully recommend going all caps, baby. And then you can hit X or square on PlayStation, of course, to rename the conference. This first conference will be all caps, baby. The Northwest Division. I said conference before. It's gonna be the division. Should Northwest be all one word? Guess what? It's gonna be. So you got to do that, of course, for however many divisions you have. You can also hit the trigger to switch over to the AHL side of things, and then you hit the button to swap people around. Am I going to bore you through that? No. So I'll be back in 1 second once these divisions are properly set up. All right. Well, let me tell you, this part of the process does take a while, but here we are. The divisions have been established. No, I was not going to sort them alphabetically. But your new Northwest Division in the Western Conference: Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Seattle, Portland, San Jose, Colorado, and San Francisco. The Central, of course: Dallas, Vegas, Winnipeg, Milwaukee, Omaha, Minnesota, St. Louis, and Chicago. And the Southwest Division is Houston, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Albuquerque, San Diego, Anaheim, Arizona, and LA. We have the Northeast Division in the Eastern Conference with Detroit, Halifax, QC, Ottawa, Buffalo, Toronto, Boston, and Montreal. The Atlantic Division featuring New Jersey, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Baltimore, and the Islanders and Rangers. And our final division, the Southeast Division, with Indianapolis, Tampa, Louisville, Atlanta, Nashville, Florida, Carolina, and Memphis as well. We have tried to establish the AHL as best we can. Like I said, not being able to replace these Swedish teams kind of sucks, but name the divisions after some of the best seasons ever in terms of like, Biggs had the most points ever in an AHL season. I think he actually tied LeBeau, but there you go. The names for the divisions there. The Tukey division, great division name, has the majority of the foreign teams. But yeah, it's kind of the one downside at the moment, but it is only the AHL at the very least. So with that, pretty much covers everything that you're going to need to know. It sets us up for our next episode, as we are going to have pretty much everything off except for computer trades and fantasy draft. Hope to see you guys a little bit later on today. We'll be going through this fantasy draft to set the stage for this franchise mode series. If you have any questions about franchise, let me know down in the comments below. I'll try to get back to people as much as I possibly can today. Hope you enjoyed this one. You should know the deal. Hey, if you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already for more NHL 23 content. Of course, as well, other franchise mode stuff can be found on my second channel, TWOGIE24. The link is in the description. That is the home for everything FIFA, Madden, MLB, NBA related, and so much more. So go check that out if you haven't. I think I'm done with the plugs here, I think. Check out the Toogies Take podcast, wherever podcasts can be heard or watched on YouTube. You can find it right here. I think that's it. I'll see you guys later on today, I hope. Fantasy draft coming up with the Toronto Maple Leafs in a 48-team franchise.